Hey guys, welcome back to another Coding Flamingo video. So in this video, we're going to do something a little bit different. So I was looking at this meme and it made me remember that ever since I was a kid, I always loved computers and I always wanted kind of like to upgrade and everything. But there was no benchmarks for programming. It was always like, can it run this game? Can it run this stuff? And like you're always trying to justify yourself buying a new computer or something. So I decided to do this video that will quantify how much time you save by upgrading. And this is actually from my old computer to my now new computer. And also I saw this tweet that it was like, we recently found that 2021 M1 MacBooks cut our Android building half, and that saved them a bunch of money that it would pay itself in 3 months. So sometimes it's better to invest in your hardware to actually save time and money. So something you can bring up with your managers, I guess, if you want a new computer. So today we're going to do Visual Studio since these videos are usually C#. So we're going to use one of my company's repos that has 29 projects, everything from like Azure Functions, console apps, to even .NET MAUI that is still in previews. So I already went ahead, did the benchmark between the two of them. And basically what I did is Visual Studio 2022. I obviously did a bunch of runs. Computers were like just turned on, so there was nothing running on them. And I only opened Visual Studio, which that's kind of like a best case scenario because usually you have more stuff in the background running that will actually slow down more the older computer since it's fighting for resources. But even with that, I was able to get a huge difference. To be fair, the Intel chip that I was using is very old, but according to the Steam questionnaire from last year, it's one of the most popular. So it actually fit perfectly with what most people probably have. To compare it, it's a Ryzen 5, which is not a crazy upgrade. Like you can get DDR4 and a new motherboard and everything for around $500. So it's not like an outlandish upgrade. Looking at the results, it might be worth it. So loading the solution, I waited until the background test finished to the point where I could see the errors and warnings loading up. So that one took 27 seconds versus 68 seconds. Then the rebuild took 14 seconds versus 50 seconds. And here's like, for example, it depends what you're doing. If you're just doing console applications, I ran the console application build that doesn't have too many dependencies, 3 seconds versus 7 seconds. That one you can't really justify it. But for example, Blazor WebAssembly took 35 seconds to 13 seconds. So let's say you run it every 10 minutes average. Like there's sometimes you're writing some code, but there's sometimes you're debugging something that you want to kind of like fast do it. So an average of 6 times per hour, you multiply that for a full week of work, 40 hours, and you see the minutes that you got, and it's around 80 minutes. You add the half a minute every time you turn on the computer, and those little minutes, it comes around an hour and a half. If we take the average salary of computer engineering in the US, it's $44 an hour. And I'm just doing US because I'm based in the US, but you can do this exercise with wherever you're working from. You're wasting an hour and a half, so that's $60 a week. You multiply that by 10 weeks and it'll pay itself to upgrade a $600 machine. So something to keep in mind. I just kind of wanted to do this video so people have kind of like a benchmark. Obviously, I couldn't do it with many computers because I only have 2 computers here, but kind of gives you an idea. You can roughly estimate where your CPUs are and how it changes. And I was running the same amount of memory. Obviously, one is DDR3, the other one's DDR4, but it was same 16 gigs on it. And in the old machine, I was running an SSD, and in this one, I'm running an NVMe. Other than that, it's kind of like pretty much the same. So it kind of gives you apples to apples when it comes to the hardware itself of what you would have to what you would upgrade to. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.